Kia ora, June 23rd, 2022. Just taking my 10-minute walk and roaming around for another day. More blue sky. A little misleading. We had some fairly nasty thunderstorms last night. Temperatures dropped by 20 plus degrees and it got a little interesting there for a while. Lost our internet and all manner of goodness, as always in the worst possible moment. So, have to deal with these things. It is what it is. Woke up this morning with the Devo song on my brain, freedom of choice. Weirdly enough, I was going to talk about something else, but I decided I'll probably jump into freedom. Let's get this cat out of the bag, so to speak. Some lyrics in that song, if you're familiar with it, from the 80s, which is my favourite musical era, just on the side. Freedom of choice is what you've got. Freedom from choice is what you want. And that last thing is quite possibly, knowingly or unknowingly, what a lot of people today seem to be gunning for when they're making decisions or not making decisions. They prefer to have the easy road, things laid out for them. I guess the welfare state, and I'm not wholly against the welfare state personally, but there have to be limits. But some people don't see it that way. That's fine. That's the freedom of choice aspect. I'm free to choose how I see things, and you're free to choose how you see things, and so on and so forth. But what is freedom? We're in America. Freedom is a big thing over here. People talk about it. I don't know necessarily that people really understand what it is. To me, at least, freedom is the ability to actually choose certain things. More importantly, to choose your responsibilities. And I'll use an example. Nobody likes paying taxes. Well, maybe some people do, but it's a special kind of masochism, I guess. But nobody likes paying taxes. But it's a thing that we have to do when we work for an employer. It's something that's been mandated to them. They have no choice in the matter. It's a freedom that's taken away from them. Freedom to spend that money to invest in their business and take more people on and all that kind of stuff. Instead, they have to pay it to various organisations, federal government, state, so on and so forth. Similarly, we have to do the same thing. We don't get the benefit of that. It's a freedom that's basically taken away from us. And we just have to muddle and do the best we can. That was an interesting bug. One example. Freedom versus responsibilities. There's always a catch. So if I say, for example, I want to exert my freedoms on this property here, and I want to put a particular type of livestock on. And the land that I'm walking at the moment is where our sheep used to be, so I take on sheep. I'm free to make that choice, but by making that choice, I've swapped that freedom for responsibility. And the responsibility is to raise those livestock, care for those livestock, and make sure that they're well fed and well looked after medically and all that good stuff. Putting fencing up, spending money to basically do the same. It goes on and on and on. So I've made a choice. It's a free choice. I can do that. I'm allowed to do that here where I am. I'm not zoned for anything. You might not be able to in your local suburb, however. You don't have that freedom because your neighbours don't necessarily like sheep baaing and doing sheep stuff at the wee hours of the morning or during the day. But I do. However, with that freedom comes responsibility. Same thing if you own a pet. you consciously made a decision to take on a cat or a dog or a human being. I'm not saying human beings are pets, but having a child kind of, I guess, falls into this too. And you swapped that, you made that freedom of choice, and now you have taken on a responsibility. And these responsibilities sometimes take away your freedoms. For example, sheep or any form of livestock. With that responsibility of raising them, caring for them, feeding them, looking after them, you no longer have the freedom to just uproot and go for a week's vacation somewhere. Can't easily do that. You have to get a livestock sitter in to look after the livestock, or hope that you've got some family members who know how to do it. You need to prepare ahead of time to make sure that those animals are cared for, should you decide to even take a vacation in the first place. Same deal with cats, same deal with dogs. Children, generally we can uproot those and take those with us, but maybe they're just too little as babies to really travel all that far. Well, I'll take that back, actually babies are actually pretty good. They're nice and portable, but toddlers, a little more work required. So again, you've made a conscious freedom of choice to do something, and what you've really done is you've taken on a responsibility, one or more responsibilities. And that's okay, but you do need to be conscious of the fact that these responsibilities also put a shackle on you in terms of what you can and can't do on a whim. So some of these responsibilities, if not all of these responsibilities, impede your freedom to certain degrees. Morning, ducks. Hey, they've all been feeding themselves. They're a responsibility. I have to get up early in the morning and tend to our poultry. I could leave them, and they might or might not die, who knows. But I take them on board as a responsibility, and that's a conscious choice on my part. I can make someone else get up early in the morning and do it, but I'm an early riser anyway, so why not? So freedom. Freedom's not freedom. Freedom is somewhat of an illusion. Freedom is your ability to choose what you want, though. And when you make those choices, you also need to think along the lines of what comes next. I'm trading in this freedom. I now have a responsibility. What does that responsibility look like? What is that going to take in terms of energy, money, time, commitment? Is this an anchor that's going to prevent me, or at least inhibit me being able to do certain things? Sure, that might be okay. You might be okay with it. Are there any hidden surprises with that responsibility? Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. Always a good thought exercise with these things. And even the smallest things carry, responsibility. Freedom of choice is somewhat of an illusion. My youngest boy Dominic, before he passed, we liked to give him the illusion of choice. Small anecdotal story here, because making choice and the impact of that choice is important for children. And this is my ramble, so please bear with me here. I'm no particular train of thought, just walking around enjoying the morning sun. But anyway, choice for children. Children have often too much choice, and I think we probably push a bit too much on. But in this particular example, we would lay out some clothing on the bed. And children, if you have children, are notorious for not being able to make their minds up about things at a young age, which is cute as I'll get out, but it can be annoying when you're trying to get out the door. But this is an exercise, asking them, well, I have 2 outfits for you today. Would you like the blue trousers with the red shirt, or the red shirt with the blue trousers? Which one do you want? And usually Master Dominic would sit there and think for a while, very hard and pensive on it, and turn around and go, I think today I'll have the red shirt with the blue trousers. And the response to that is, good choice, good choice. When you make your choices today, and you exercise your freedoms, whether they're freedoms you want or freedoms you don't want, take a second to think about what lies further beyond that choice. Is there a responsibility associated with it? And what is the extent of that responsibility? If you're presented with too much choice, or you're presenting someone with too much choice, you may be giving them a little bit too much rope. Somewhere in there is probably a sweet spot. I don't know. People are complex, and freedom can be a touchy subject to some people. We'll talk about this on another ramble. Just my opinions as always. Kia ora everyone. I hope you have an amazing day. And if you're not bored to tears from these rambles, feel free to click subscribe or like, whatever the YouTubey thing is, and I'll throw some other weirdness at you tomorrow. All going well. Take care.